I remember the day so clearly because it started like one of those days you think will be nothing more than a fun adventure, something to break up the routine of normal life. I had been planning a short solo trip into the desert with my ATV for weeks. It was supposed to be simple: ride out into the open landscape, take some photos, maybe camp overnight, and ride back the next morning. I had food, I had water, I had gas. I thought I was prepared. I thought nothing could really go wrong. I mean, how many times have people done this exact same thing without any issues? But I can tell you now, after what I went through, you never really understand how fragile your plans are until you find yourself stranded in a place that does not care whether you live or die. When I set off that morning, I was buzzing with excitement. The desert stretched out in front of me like an endless ocean of sand and stone. The sun was still low, the air just cool enough to be pleasant. Riding that ATV across the flats and through dry washes felt like freedom. The engine roared, dust trailed behind me, and I kept thinking about how lucky I was to have this machine under me, taking me places most people would never set foot. For hours I rode without a care in the world, stopping occasionally to drink water, stretch my legs, and snap a photo. It felt like one of those perfect days you want to hold on to forever. But perfection never lasts. Somewhere in the early afternoon, after I had pushed deeper into the desert than I probably should have, I started hearing a strange sound coming from the ATV. At first, I ignored it. It was just a faint rattle, barely noticeable over the hum of the engine. I told myself it was probably nothing, maybe some sand caught in the undercarriage. But as the miles went by, the sound grew louder. Then came the smell, the faint, acrid scent of something burning. I slowed down, stopped, and for a few seconds the machine idled fine. But when I tried to rev the engine again, it sputtered, coughed, and died. I remember the silence that followed. It was like the entire desert suddenly leaned in to watch what I would do next. I tried to restart it over and over, but the engine refused. I checked the gas tank, still half full. I opened the panels, stared at wires and parts one barely understood, hands shaking more with frustration and fear. But deep down, I already knew I wasn't going anywhere on that ATV. I was stuck. The realization didn't hit me all at once. At first, I laughed it off. I thought, no big deal. I'll just wait a bit. Maybe it'll cool down. I still had water. I still had food. I had my phone, though there was no signal. I told myself this was just a minor setback, that I'd figure it out. But as the hours dragged on, as the sun climbed higher and the heat pressed down on me like a weight, I began to feel the edges of panic. You don't really understand what heat means until you're stranded in the middle of a desert with no shade. The sun isn't just above you. It feels like it's inside your skull, baking your thoughts, draining your strength with every passing minute. I tried to set up a little shelter using what I had, leaning a tarp against the ATV to create some shade. It helped, but not much. My water bottle became my lifeline. Every sip felt like gold, but I knew if I drank too much too fast, I wouldn't last long. That's when I started rationing. Small sips every hour, no more. That first night was when the reality of survival set in. The desert is brutal, in ways most people never imagine. During the day, it tries to burn you alive, but at night it turns against you in the opposite way. The temperature plummeted. The wind picked up, carrying with a cold that cut straight through the thin jacket I had brought. I huddled against the ATV, shivering, staring up at the stars. They were beautiful, brighter than I'd ever seen, but there was no comfort in them. All I could think about was how far away they were, and how far away home felt in that moment. By the second day, the situation started to feel truly dire. I tried to walk in different directions, hoping to find a road, a trail, anything. But the desert plays tricks on you. Distances stretch forever. What looks like a ridge you can reach in an hour takes half a day. And when you get there, all you find is more sand, more rock, more emptiness. I kept coming back to the ATV because at least it was a landmark. Wandering too far felt like a death sentence. My supplies dwindled fast. Food was gone by the third day. Not that it mattered much. Hunger you can ignore for a while. It's the thirst that eats you alive. My mouth felt like sandpaper, my tongue swollen, every thought consumed by water. I licked condensation, off a piece of metal in the morning. Desperate for even a drop, I dug into the dirt, hoping maybe I'd hit something damp. Nothing. The desert gave me nothing. By the fourth day, I stopped believing I'd make it out. My lips were cracked, my skin blistered, my vision blurred. I talked to myself, to the ATV, to the sky. Sometimes I swore I could hear voices, see shapes moving in the distance. But they were only mirages, tricks of a brain slowly shutting down. I remember lying under the ATV at midday, trying to escape the sun, and thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe no one will ever find me. And I still don't know if it was luck, fate, or just stubbornness, I heard something. A low rumble, faint at first, carried on the wind. I thought it was another hallucination, but the sound grew louder. I pulled myself out from under the ATV and squinted into the horizon, a speck of dust moving fast. It was a truck. I staggered into the open, waving my arms, screaming with the little voice I had left. For a moment, I thought they wouldn't see me. But then the truck slowed, turned, and headed my way. The next thing I remember clearly is being handed a bottle of water. Cold, clear, life-saving water. I drank too fast, choked, spilled half it down my shirt. But it didn't matter. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever tasted. The men in the truck spoke little English, but they didn't need words. They helped me climb in, and as we drove away, I watched the ATV disappear behind me, a tiny shape swallowed by the desert. Later, back in safety, I kept thinking about what happened out there, how close I came to not making it, how thin the line is between life and death when you strip away all the comforts we take for granted. I had thought of the desert as an adventure, a playground, but out there alone, I realized it's a place that doesn't care about you. It doesn't forgive mistakes. If you're not prepared, truly prepared, it will take everything from you. That experience changed me. I don't ride out without over-preparing now. I carry more water than I think I'll ever need, more gear, emergency communication devices. But more than that, I carry the memory of those days, the silence, the fear, the endless sky, and the miracle of that truck appearing on the horizon. It's a reminder that life is fragile, that survival is never guaranteed, and that sometimes the only thing keeping you alive is the will to take one more step, one more breath, until help finally comes.